Hey, beautiful people. How are you doing today? Very early in the morning. I'm starting like 20 minutes before I programmed this. I programmed this at around 7 a.m. Mountain Time because I was not sure I was going to be awake. It's been a hard week. First week after the term. So it's really hard. We change students. We have a lot of new people. Faces give the class rules, and well, you can imagine how that is. And then there was a problem with one of the apps. So the students were not getting notifications that the classes had started. So they had accumulated absences. And after the stream, I'm going to check who has got 4 absences when the maximum is 6. And that's going to be a little bit of a problem. So, as people come in, we are going to continue working with 3 works in progress, one a little bit more advanced than the others. But here we are. Okay, one of my cats is around here. He's quite curious about what I'm doing here with the light and the camera and all that. So I hope he doesn't decide to jump here on top of everything because he's huge, by the way. So let me get the welcome message right over there. With the new daylight savings time, I went from Central Time to Mountain Time. I don't do that in my location. Not anymore. So here we are. Okay. I try to be checking chat as I color, but normally when this happens, I'm kind of thinking that maybe I should add a little bit of a dark red down here. This drawing has become a little bit puzzling due to the fact that it has got several light sources. So let's see how we go. I'm in silence so you can listen to the birds outside. It's dawn here. Sunny and clear, not cold. It's going to be over 80 Fahrenheit for sure. That is probably, I'm not so sure, probably close to 25 or 26 centigrades if you're using centigrades. Oops, I have something here at the back. Part of the paper. Might not be able to stream tomorrow, so we're going to try and make do the best out of today's session with a lot of coloring and tips. Okay, I'm using my working set, that is a Starjoy. And try to add black pigment. This black color has got kind of a small little particle in there. It's not flowing as a Premiere should flow. Maybe it's a false one. I don't know. I got it in a street market some years ago, so probably it could be a clone of the original one. That's why it feels a little bit greedy and not a battery. Okay. I'm adding a little bit of shiny red here. Oops, sorry, I was off camera. I have this surface on top, so you get a closer view to what I'm doing. If that is possible, of course, but anyway, we always show you close-ups. You can get to see where the black Prismacolor has been added. There's more dark contrast, while this area is still very gray from the original print. This was laser printed. I need to get more toner. I'm running out of toner. So probably next week. There we go. With hair, you don't have to be that careful with hair or fur, just the strands. Kind of loose and have fun with this. Going to get more cat books, definitely. I've already got one that has got a lot of big cats, not pet cats. But I've decided not to continue with a cat, but with a bear. So I'm going to show you that one. At least I want to do half this a cat fur before I switch to something else. If you're a fan of animals, wild or pet animals, you're going to see me color a lot of those here, because I think it's interesting how the coats and the fur of each of the animals work with they work under different light. Okay, you're probably going to see that I freeze or black out. If that happens, it's my internet connection, is not necessarily yours, but it happens. I'm still trying to decide which could be a good time to stream, especially if I'm going to continue working with weekend streams. Down to the East Coast in the United States, you are 2 hours ahead from me, so it's going to be 7 a.m. here. So for you, it's probably going to be 9 a.m. It's a good breakfast time to follow along. So if you have a cup of coffee, you have toast or whatever you like to have for breakfast, go ahead and follow the channel. If possible, subscribe and recommend. Here we don't have Patreons, we don't have memberships. All the tips and knowledge that I have for over 30 years coloring and illustrating in a traditional way are offered here for free. Because that's the idea behind the channel. To share, to have fun, and that you get to grab some tips for your own coloring books. Okay, so this is looking nice. Let me keep the black here. I have more blacks on this side, and I have a green. But I'm going to see which one feels a little bit creamier. Cat is back, and he's looking at me like, who are you talking to? You're not petting me. You're not paying attention to me. Cats are very strange creatures, for sure. And very puzzling. Let me see if I can find my violet. I don't want to move all my pencils and kind of wreck a little bit of the organization that I have here right in front. But pull some violets, and I'm probably going to use this one. In combination with the black. I'm using different sets. I still don't want to use a lot of pressure here. I want to leave the last layer for the Prismacolor that I have, so I can intensify the pinks and the violets that I have around the cat. Cannot be seen properly because of the studio lights that I have, but I'm going to intensify the pastel colors that I have in the background, and probably that will help a lot with the fur. Okay. I always recommend a paper towel for you to rest your hand, your wrist. Take breaks. That's kind of important. A lot of beginners, when they kind of embrace coloring for the first time, they get so excited about coloring different pages, and they are hours and hours sitting down and coloring without a break. So I think that working in 45-minute periods is recommended. So you can color 45 minutes, rest, go around, move your hands, do something else, and later you can come back. You don't need to finish a page on a single day. It's hard for the hands, for the wrists. I used to work with commission portraits before I went into teaching, and I'm not necessarily teaching art right now. I'm teaching foreign languages. And before going into teaching, and I was working with that commissioned portraits, animals, people, you name it, using graphite, color. I used to work 12 hours in a single day because I had to give those commissions as fast as I could so I could get more clients. And then I discovered that it was not necessarily that good for my hands. I started having problems here. And I went to see a doctor and he is the one who gave me the recommendation of the 45-15. So 45 periods, and then go and do different exercises with my hands. The stress balls that we normally squish, they're good, and then rotations and things like that. So I normally warm up before I color. So I do different stretches, and I use the stress balls. I move my fingers and my hands, and I always do those warm-up sessions before I start coloring. I also move my paper, and you can get to see that I jump from section to section. That relieves the stress from your hand, and it's not kind of a monotone movement that beginner colorists or amateur colorists tend to do. When you are doing this movement all the time, and you don't switch your hand to different positions of movements, that's when problems will appear in the future. So get hold on those tips. That's why some people stop watching, they enter the stream, they see that I'm jumping all the way around, and they say like, oh, that's so disorganized, that's so crazy. No, it's not really crazy. It has got kind of a habit going for a long time. As I mentioned before, I've been coloring, drawing, and illustrating for over 30 years. And it was like 25 years ago when I detected the first problem with my wrists and my hands. That's when I went to the doctor, and he gave me those little tips to move around, jump, change the position of the hands, move them, and of course, rest for 15 minutes doing something else. If that doesn't help, then you can use, in combination, heating pads. You can lay some heating pads on top of your wrists of your dominant hand and just rest, do something else. The page is not going to move or escape. It's just going to be there. And that's also beneficial because whenever you step away from a coloring page that you have been working on for some hours, you go back and see it with different eyes. And you can get to see areas that you would like to improve, and then you go back to the area and you kind of retouch a little bit. So, small little tips. I don't have here, I put my stress balls back into the drawer. But anyway, if I can, I'll go and fetch one and show you more or less what I do for the background. Okay, this Prismacolor Premiere is a little bit creamier than the other one that I was using. You can get to see there's, within the same brand, different quality control issues. Not that the pencils are like the best right now, but still, I have not found something as buttery or as creamy as the Premieres in Prismacolor. Brands that I have not attempted to get because they're very pricey or they are not delivered to my location down here. So in case they are delivered, the shipping is extremely costly. And I don't want to mention the situation going on around the world right now, but prices of all the items have increased. And despite the fact that the sites mention that shipping is reduced or is free shipping, like Amazon is free the prices of the items have increased, and that's where they charge you the shipping. Nothing's free, of course. So I've decided to stop ordering from abroad. My last order from Amazon US is going to come. It's going to be here by Monday, so I'll be able to show you my books on the next streaming session that I think is going to be somewhere between March 21st. Okay, so it's 1 week away. And I'm still not sure if that Saturday is going to be an early stream like right now, or it's going to be in the afternoon after my the lady who comes and helps me with the cleaning has finished, because she comes early on Saturday. She's not coming today, that's why I'm streaming. So she's not here today, so I'm kind of freer to have a mess around these desks. I have the camera here, I have colors, I have more colors over there, I have colors the other way, and I have more material and books and things there. Okay, so we have been working 20 minutes with this page that my plan is to finish this one, if possible, this weekend off camera. That would be a good option, if possible. And I'm going to show you briefly what I completed last week. So last weekend, I worked with this book that is the Humans coloring book by Tony V. Carter on Amazon. And I started with this small portrait just to test the paper. This is Amazon paper, but don't hate it. It's workable. You can do that. And I finish this frowny girl. Normally what I leave at the very end is the black. So I will go and use a little bit of the buttery color that we have here. I use markers, so the paper is a little bit stained in the back, but we protected the previous page. So there you go. And this paper buckles if you are too hard on laying your colors, but still it's workable. I really don't hate it. Normally at university, when you are in the artist majors like mine, that was graphic design and traditional illustration, that's what I majored in, they show you how to work with different materials, and they help you go around the disadvantages of certain papers and try to see if something works. So they encourage students to experiment, and that's something that I still do. I experiment a lot with the papers, but I normally buy coloring books or materials recommended by other streamers, and they're a little bit more observant on the papers, and they give you recommendations on what to use with different papers. And when I see that they recommend a book and it's able, because of the price, my budget, and if the delivery is possible to my location, then I get the book. Okay, so That's what you normally do. You don't abuse from black. So there you are. And the other portrait, and that's why this week I'm doing animals. The other portrait that I finished is from this book by Christine Karen. And I finished this angel. And I used here watercolor on top of color pencil. The wax of the color pencil creates resist, and probably the camera is not going to pick it up, but the glitter watercolor was applied to the wings, especially this wing, this area of the wing, and this part, a little bit here. And I also used a little bit on his hair. I used acrylics, both silver and white for the stars, and pastels at the back. So this was a fun experiment. This paper is, of course, much better than regular printer paper or Amazon paper, so no big deal. And here you go. This is what I finished. And this week, I'm working with two coming in. Good morning. I started earlier because I finished doing something related to school. So I said, okay, I'm here, so let's start earlier. But this is the one that you saw yesterday on Instagram. It doesn't have here the name of Toni B. Carter, but on Amazon you can find her. This is one of the first books that I think she created without name. And this is so far what I have done. It was not that complete yesterday morning, but I'm going to pull it up. Everything is color pencil here. Amazon paper buckles a little bit when you use different layers. And I'm using this palette of Star Joys. So it's kind of limited. We have yellows, oranges, and one dark red. And that's what I'm using here. Okay. So this dragon looks kind of mean. But it's one of the tricks. If you don't draw some pupils on the eyes, you make the animals kind of a scary or phantasmagoric. Well, there you go. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. I'm having a lot of fun here. Still need to intensify this area with the scales. And I think the horns are going to be blue. They're going to be kind of the opposite color from the color wheel. So we can get an accent here. So I'm going to continue with this one. But I wanted to show you this. I saw somebody on a Facebook group with this book, and there are two. One is this one, the first one, that is double exposure animals. Okay. And you can get to tell that this is totally AI generated. Definitely. But it doesn't matter. I saw that this was really, really beautiful. So that's why I got it. And as usual, I will not use a name here. I scored, I indented. I'm trying for this to show in camera so you can get that the paper feels a little bit mistreated here. Yeah, because I indented the hairs so I can keep them white. And there you go. Oh, you gave away your old set. Yeah, and I have heard, I don't know if it was you who told me that the original Starjoy, not the gold, but the original Starjoy had better quality than the gold. So yeah, I missed the Starjoys when they appeared, the originals and the golds also. But definitely, I mean, for coloring books on Amazon paper, these things are more than enough, right? So we don't want perfect quality. I heard somebody saying that polychromos um, lay really, really well on Amazon paper. I have to try that. I have my polychromos and I have the Goldfaber. So I like those sets and I like to use them for commissioned work. But right now that I'm a part-time, almost full-time teacher at university, I have stopped commissions. I just don't have time. I will have to tell my clients, excellent, your doggy portrait is going to be ready in a month. So I don't think nobody's going to like that. So that's why I have stopped commission work right now. Because I normally offer them for 5 days maximum. But that meant working from 8 to 12 hours coloring or drawing, so that was particularly hard on my hand, and I have to follow the recommendations. At the beginning of the stream I mentioned what happened to me when I was working 12 hours on commissions when I started, and I was freshly graduated from university. But anyway, yeah, these photos are gorgeous. And I got this book. Let me pull this back. There are a lot of animals. There are a lot of repeated animals. But I got this book because there are a lot of big cats. There are a lot of leopards and tigers and cheetahs, lions. So most of this book, this owl is cute. You have kind of two animals from each. There are foxes and wolves. There's just one zebra I would have loved. I think this one is a sloth, but rhino. This one, I forgot the name even in Spanish. I forgot the name of this one. But if I remember the name in Spanish, I'll give it to you. There are penguins and peacocks, a couple of parrots. This seal is also so cute. But this is, I think, a bobcat or a lynx, koala bears. But there are a lot of tigers and big cats, and that's why I got this book, because most of my favorite animals are here. It was pricey, but I didn't care. I just got it last week. I don't know if it was Monday or Sunday. I think it was Monday when I got it. And the same Monday I said, okay, it's time for starting something from the sky over here. You're going to see freezing me out. My internet is still playing a lot of games. Okay. This area of the ear has got kind of leaves. So it has got like a bush somewhere. But anyway, let's see what we can do here. This is also a little bit bushy as well. When you start coloring AI images is when you kind of realize, you pay attention to how artificial intelligence still not working very well with certain details. And there's a new book. This is by Georgia Hartwell. Yeah, Georgia Hartwell. And there is one called Pets, and you only have dogs and cats. But as the Pets book is newer than this one, it's more expensive. So if I want to get that later, I'll have to wait. I'll probably have to wait 6 months or 8 months for me to get that book. And I hope that by the time that happens, I have done a lot more in these books. And the new ones. I discovered 2 books yesterday that I have not even opened yet. So I'm not going to say it's the goal for this month or the next month, but I do have to open these 2 books and color them. So let me pull this one a little bit away. I'm going to continue with the dragon, but these books, they still have the plastic. You can see that the plastic shines. So I like Van Gogh. And I got this one and I got a Monet one. So I got this one. And I have painted. And this book is probably 9 years old. And I have not opened this one. And this one is also kind of in the same situation. I have not read the novels, but I got the book. And I got it because I saw a review on YouTube, and here I have all the books. Sorry about the plastic. Okay. So this is Crystal Throne. So it's kind of medieval and kind of thing. So interesting. I think that part of the goal this year is to open those books and color in them. I mean, why? Oh, again, I want to color this one. This is kind of a mixture of unicorn with the 2 horns, but I like this one. So some of the drawings here are not necessarily cute, but let me close a little bit move my light a little bit up. Probably let me turn it off. Let's see if this works. Oh, kind of. Not that bad. I already have natural light coming from my window, so let me just pull it a little bit more so I can get more natural light coming in. There you go. I'm planning to be here like 40 minutes more to see what I can do with this particular dragon. Hey, Paul. Nice to see you. How are you doing? I hope everything is fine. Started earlier today, coloring just a little bit. Have not been very active on Facebook, really. I normally post on Instagram and forget about Facebook. Forget about the comments as well. So anyway, yeah, yes, View. Have to open those books this year. That's the objective. Okay. I was trying to explain at the very beginning that sometimes my very hectic way of coloring has to do with protecting the hands and the muscles. A very monotone coloring is not good because you're not moving the different muscles that we have. Yeah, I think that paper is not so good. The one of Van Gogh is not so good for a lot of wet media. Cheap paper is better for coloring pencils, but I'm going to try acrylic markers and see if the paper can hold. Okay, I should start thinking about the blues so I can show you the contrast just with the horns. Some areas are still going to be red and orange. I'm going to pull this up here on, but I'm going to go and start checking what I have here. So this is where I have all my blues. And I think I'm going to start with a very, very base layer. This is the name of these colors are sometimes hilarious. This one is called Aquaman. When I was a very, very young child, there used to be a cartoon called La Liga de los Super Amigos, so Super Friends. Was this very fun cartoon with Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman, those cute characters. And my favorite character was Aquaman, not Wonder Woman. Because Aquaman could talk to fish and whales and dolphins, and I love that. That was my dream when I was a child, to be able to talk to dolphins because I was in love with dolphins and I drew dolphins and whales all day long. And then I started with horses. But my first love to draw was a dolphin. So I memorized the anatomy of the animal, the colors, the eyes, etc. I probably could still draw one by memory. But I don't want to try that on camera. What if? The what if, no? The what if it doesn't come out as I imagined and it comes up very crooked and without the correct proportions. But anyway. So I loved Aquaman. And in child play, when I was playing with my sisters, I have two younger sisters. One of my sisters, she always wanted to be Wonder Woman and she was kind of bossy about it. So I was like, okay, you're Wonder Woman. No big deal. And I was always Aquaman. Definitely. Okay. Nice, Paul. Horses are just great. And they are, at the beginning, they are complicated, but they seem to flow after some practice sessions. I follow some artists on Instagram that commission horse portraits. And I don't remember the name of the two of them are British. One is Bonnie Snowdon, I'm not sure. And the other one, I don't remember her name, but it's Robinson. and their horse portraits are just amazing. The coat is silky, it's shiny, so amazing. They have a mastery on horses. Okay. Oops, I'm having a lot of interruptions today. My internet is not working. Okay, but anyway. Yes, right. That's why I like doing this. Ooh. But I need to go to a good stationery store and get the good brands that they have there. I don't want to use Amazon because everything is Chinese, and what I have discovered is that some Chinese brands are good, but if they are kind of the all-purpose brands, and I don't know, I have not got good results. But anyway, okay. So let me pull this up to show you. I'm still going to use a dark blue here for the shadows, but by placing together the yellow and the orange and the blue, we're going to create a contrast, the accent for this. And I'm keeping these layers very light right now because I want to intensify them with Prismacolors. I'm using Joyce. Oh yes, there you go. But animals, dolphins and horses, still my favorite. And later on in life, I discovered the orcas, the killer whales. And that was it. Wow. It was like, when for children, when they are very, very young, for young boys, when they discover dinosaurs and they see like, oh, wow, they are powerful and magnificent and stuff like that. Well, when I discovered the orcas, it was like, wow, they are just the biggest predator in the ocean, and everything was amazing. And during my teenage years, and still in my first years at university, whenever the teachers were asking for draw your favorite animal, well, during university was the orca, my favorite animal. A lot of my projects, and I still have them somewhere in my closet. I have to dig them out to show them to you. But I still have my orcas there. Some dolphins, yeah. And I started also my love with the cats and the big cats. So I have some tigers there. I don't have my lion here. Oh no, yes, I have my lion. Let me show you my lion. See, I thought it was downstairs, but not really. I have my mother, well, not mine, but my mother had a tool that is a pyrograph. So you have this kind of pen that hits and burns wood. So she used it to create trays and decorations, etc. So after her passing, I was going through her things to see what I was going to keep or what I was going to donate. And I rediscovered the pyrograph, and I was like, wow, this is cool. So My mother passed in 2021, and I made this one in 2022. And after practicing with this one, just some maple leaves, I decided to try a big cat, a lion. So this is a clipboard, not really complicated. This is also from 2022. And the paragraph for the texture, Inktense for the colors. I have a leopard somewhere else, but I don't know where I stored that one. This was the first, so it was not necessarily the best one. The leopard came out better, but I don't know what it is. I'll find it. I'll try to find it. I'll show it to you, but I normally take this clipboard to school because the mascot of my university is a lion. So when I show this to the students, they're like, "Ah, oh, this is so cool. A lion there." So anyway, that's why I said that at university they let us explore with materials and see what we can do with all those little things. But anyway, my mother did not allow me to use her pyrograph for university. I knew she had it, but she was very jealous about that. Yeah, because it involves a risk, right? It's an electric machine, and it produces fumes, so you have to wear a face mask and you have to work in a very, very ventilated area. So it's not something that you can just take out easily and use, right? But anyway, I like how this is looking. I kind of visualized this dragon in orange, yellow, and blue. And there you go. I'm trying to think where I put my leopard, but if I move a lot of things from this area, I might drop something. This is not the one. I have some things in this box, but I don't know if I'm keeping here. I have my oil pastels here. No, I thought I had my leopard here, but no, it's somewhere else. So I'll have to go and find it in a different box, probably. Yeah, I rearrange a lot of things. Oops, I'm moving these. Not that good. Should keep my mouse still. I mean, my desk is big enough. I have a lot of space on this side, but my camera is limited to this area. And I have my poles here. You can see one here. So going up and down, this is one of my poles to hold my camera. So I cannot use a lot of things. I cannot extend. Okay, so far we are in 54 minutes. So that's quite cool. I'm going to keep the stream in 60 minutes, no more than that. So and watch and leave comments and enjoy what we have here. Because as usual, I normally use my Saturdays and Sundays for errands. And today I have an appointment. So let's see what I can do after. I'll probably post some update photos of this coloring. I have done nothing much to the bear, and I have to wait until the cat really has a big contrast so I can update that photo as well. But anyway, here we are. I'm going to find new tips for next week. I went and organized my personal library, and I found my university material, my books and my notes, and I think that I can rescue from there a lot of very useful tips that we can use for coloring books. So let me go and reread some of them and highlight some of my pages. And I'll prepare more tips for coloring books to use them and enhance your pages, make them look better. Don't worry so much about the paper. We can always adapt the material to the paper and the paper to the material. One of the books that I'm going to get on Monday, I was enabled by Tina. I started looking at her coloring of one of the books, and I was like, oh my god, that book has a cat, and I want the cat. So yeah, I'll show those books next weekend. And can you believe it? Next Saturday is spring officially coming to the northern hemisphere. So this is going fast. Might not be able to stream tomorrow. I'm still not sure. But if I can stream, I'll program something using Restream. I'm kind of using both services, StreamYard and Restream, because I don't want to pay any plans for any of those. So I'm using the free hours, kind of using the free hours of the free plans, because I'm not exceeding 20 hours a month. And I'll see you around in different streams if I can connect. So thank you very much for coming. I'm going to stream with a message and an invitation to follow me on Instagram. You can see my handle going here. So take care and have an excellent Saturday. Bye everyone. Take care.